Thank you guys for showing up early, eager to learn, hanging out with me tonight. We're going to give everyone just a few minutes to join. It's quite not 7 o'clock yet, but in the meantime, I want you guys to find the chat feature, find the chat box, find the chat box. Um, just say hi. How you doing? Where you live at now? Where do you want to live? If you don't mind telling me where do you want to buy a house, um, you're going to notice tonight that we're going to ask a lot of questions and let some people in. And we want this to be interactive. So welcome on in. We're going to give people a few minutes to join. It's not quite 7 o'clock, but we are going to get started shortly. So find the chat feature, find the chat box, and find the chat box, and let me know. Mine's house, and so I'll be here till noon. Let me know where you are and where you want to live. This is only my second online Zoom, guys, so I'm still working the kinks out of my system here, but we're going to get through this. And by the end of this Zoom, you're going to be more informed than you were coming in. It's my job to understand where you are in your journey. And it's okay, Daphne. You're on set right now. That's all right. I thought you'd be home by now. We'll still go through this, and you can look at the recording after. If you can't stay, you would look at the recording after. Don't worry about it. We're here for you. Good job. So my job here is to have you guys more informed in the process of buying a home than you were coming into it. If you can, to put in the chat box where you are now, where you want to buy a home. Um, and again, I just want to say thanks for spending some time and investing time in yourself. And over this next hour, 90 minutes, it's my job and my sincere effort to make sure that you are more informed than you were coming into this. Okay, so without further ado, let's get started. So really, let's see here. So let's see. Get this presentation started. So I'm eager, really eager to share some of the best practices, tactical, the nitty gritty, and bits of advice I can about buying a home in Southern California. Um, Over the last number of years, it's been my pleasure to serve a number of home buyers, sellers, and investors in Southern California. So, I want to share my experience with you. So, again, if you have any questions, go ahead and dump them in the chat along the way. And if you rather talk one on one, we'll make a plan to do that offline. And I'll dump the booking one on one booking meeting calendar link in the chat. I'll do that shortly, so that we can book on the one-on-one one-on-one schedule with me. So I've titled this webinar "How to Avoid Costly Mistakes to 5 Mistakes," right? But it should be another name altogether. It's really it's how not to screw this up. So um, I don't know if you're weird like me, but I'm one of those people. When I go spend money and try something new, I always want to make sure I don't mess it up. So we'll call this, how not to screw this up. I've packed so much information in this webinar, and I'm going to talk fast, but you're going to be well informed after. I mean, there's a recording of this webinar after, right? So I want this to be interactive. I want this to be interactive. I can only imagine, just like Daphne, she's on set filming her latest Hollywood blockbuster. But I can only imagine you had a long, hard day and you're maybe juggling toddlers right now. So you're not really 100%. You can't be on camera. That's totally fine. But I want to feel this interactive. I hate feeling up here talking by myself, but I know you're here on Zoom right now. So just if you have any questions, dump them in the chat, and we'll get we'll knock those out as many as possible. As many as possible when there's 3 people. I'm sorry, I gotta let people in the room. You we'll knock those questions out at the end. So, I'm sorry, guys. I'm doing double duty, letting people in. I don't have my assistant today. So, so if you, by the way, if you have questions, dump them in the chat, and we'll knock those questions out near the end. By the way, if you cannot stay for the whole time and you want to circle back with us and get individual questions answered, and find out what programs you actually qualify for, I'm going to drop the link in the chat for the calendar so you can book a one-on-one time with us. By the way, if you find the reactions button, you can raise your hand option or smash it for me, because I'm going to be asking you some questions. I want to know whether you agree or disagree with what I'm saying, right? Because my job again here is to make sure you're an informed home buyer going forward, in this process as much as I possibly can. So, in fact, there's one big question I want to know before we get started. Let me ask you, how do you feel about buying a home? Are you concerned, stressed out, intimidated, anxious, uncertain, don't know where to start, what to do? Well, again, it's my job to make sure that I help you along the way, and that we don't have those type of problems, right? It's my job to make sure you are great. All right, so okay. So here's the thing. I remember when I was buying a house, I bought my first house. I was actually the realtor, the loan officer, and everything. And I remember buying the home and feeling totally stressed. I even drank a bottle of wine one day when I was totally stressed, because buying a home can be emotional and stressful at the same time. I understand. But my goal tonight is to basically help you get the best sleep tonight you had in a while going through the home ownership process. So I want to make sure you have something to write with or take notes on your phone for sure, because we're going to go over some things. So also, if don't forget everyone, if you can't stay for the whole call, go through the chat box. I'm going to drop the link right now to the booking link. I'm going to drop that in the chat right now. If you can't stay for the whole call, that's the link in the chat box. You can book a call with my team and I, and we can go over your individual scenario, because I know you may have kids around. But again, if you stay to the end, we have approximately about $1,000 of goodies for you for when you're buying a home. So let's continue. So I want to introduce myself real quickly. My name is Larry Hughes, and I'm double licensed as a real estate and mortgage broker. I like to think of myself as an asset to my clients, because I know both the real estate and the mortgage side. So when we sit down and talk and we go over your goals, we go over what you want to do. I kind of pride myself on being able to see around the corner, to see the pitfalls and where you currently are at and what you want to accomplish, right? So that's how I like to see myself. So more about me and my big why. My big why is right here in this photo. These three kids and my wife. My wife is on the end. These three kids are a little bit bigger than they are. They're a little bit bigger than they are in this picture, but because now they're 24, 20, and 12. But this is my big why. My family is my big why of what I do, right? So um, I've been married now for about 24 years. Be 25 October 27th. It'll be 20 celebrate 25 years of blissful marriage. I'm a mutt. I'm a product of the Great Migration of the South. From my dad from Alabama, and my mom from being from Panama. They met here in Los Angeles. So I've been in real estate since 2005. Been local schools. Ended up going to Santa Monica College, and my big charity is Battered Women, Battered Women Shelter. So I have a big heart for that. Thank you for the comment of my nice family. I appreciate it. Fun fact: I'm 53 and I grew up on the Cosby Show. And I told my girlfriend, then now wife, when we were dating, that I want to have a Cosby life, right? So I admire the Cosby family, regardless of what happened later, of what he's been doing now. I don't want to get into that, but just that family structure, and I tried, and I think I've created that here out here. So my big why again is my family. I do everything I am doing hard as heck, and for the Battered Women's Shelter, I contribute to two Battered Women's Shelters. So that's my big why. Okay, so I love home buyers. This is a picture of one of my most recent sales. This is right here. I don't want to give the address, but it's in LA near 108th. And what I created these are a mother and daughter team, Aaron and Tony. Aaron and Tony bought a home. They bought a single family in the front and a junior ADU in the back. So they teamed up and they were very excited. I had a balloon arch guy put together, a balloon arch for them when they came up to get their keys. It was a very joyous day. I love it. So I love home buyers because I love the feeling of helping someone achieve their home ownership goals. So don't get me wrong, I love sellers, investors too, but today's talk is about home buyers. So here's what I've learned along a lot 20 years I've been in business. I've been in business since 2005, and that most buyers screw this up. Most buyers screw this up with some of the mistakes they make. Right? First-time home buyer mistakes. Based on 20 years of doing this, I can tell you that 90% of first-time home buyers end up in the wrong house and the wrong deal. Our job today is to really see around the corner so that you're one of the most well-prepared first-time or home buyers in Southern California. That's my job. I don't want that to happen to you guys. Mistake number one, they don't take advantage of first-time home buyer programs. Now, first-time home buyer programs have pros and cons. Right? They have pros and cons. They're not for everyone. However, a mistake is leaving that money on the table if it can be advantageous for you. So, first-time home buyer programs, we, as a mortgage broker, have over 50 different lenders, and they come into our offices all the time. And I get phone calls all the time talking about first-time home buyer programs, grants, etc. And so the first mistake, or one of the mistakes you can make, is not taking advantage or not exploring first-time home buyer programs. Now, don't forget, everyone, if you can't stay for the whole call, whole webinar, and you want to book a one-on-one session, you already know you want to buy a home. You just need that person to help you and save you mistakes that can cost you tens of thousands of dollars or leave money on the table. I'm going to drop the booking link right now because I am sensitive. Because I do have a family. I know, understand that we all can't stay. You may be cooking, you may be listening to the cat and the dog running around. But I did again drop the booking link. in the chat. Um, so if you can see that, go ahead book if you need to jump off the call at any time. There's the booking link. So first-time homebuyer programs, there are literally no fewer than 10 first-time homebuyer programs in your area. They're based on your situation, and it may be specific to your location of the home. Is down payment concern for anyone on the call? Anyone on the call? Put in the chat. Do anyone have a down payment concern? And if you don't want to share, that's fine. But if that's one of the things that keeping you up at night in this process or about this process, listen up. We've got plan A, B, C, and D for you, right? Again, first-time home buyers programs can be specific to the location of the home, depending on your income. May require you hang on to the home for a few years, have interest rates that are more favorable than the market, and actually that's the other way around. They're less favorable than the market. Some are 100% financing. So some are down payment grants. Some are based on what kind of job you do. Some literally exist because of the bank's bad behavior in the 1960s and beyond. Some are federal tax credits that pay you back for your part of the mortgage interest. You may even able to stack first-time home buyer programs and other incentives on top of each other. So these are the stuff that we look at, right? So an example, Johnny wants to purchase a home at $650,000. The minimum down payment is 3.5%, or $22,750, and add back the FHA upfront mortgage cost of 1.75%. The total loan amount is $638,000. Closing cost is 2%. Just to give you an example of what's kind of cost that could be associated with buying a home, and what can the down payment assistance program or first-time home buyer program help you with. Two ugly facts: big banks will steer you away from these programs because most don't have them. While we're talking about first-time home buyer program, let's talk about the bank. Most people's first instinct is to go to the bank. That's the wrong thing to do. If people think that since I have a checking account or a saving account, it makes sense to go to my big bank, right? Big banks like to pretend these programs don't exist because they don't have the infrastructure to do them. And sellers don't want to see, sellers who are represented by real estate agents, competent real estate agents, don't want to see an offer from these type of banks, because and they will decline you and punish you or give you less favorable terms because they don't trust big banks. They take too long to close. So again, everyone, drop the booking link inside the chat. If you can't stay, go ahead, raise your hand. Now, raise your hand if you like the idea of leaving tens of thousands of dollars on the table. Does anybody here right now? Does anybody here like the idea of leaving tens of thousands of dollars on the table? I shouldn't see a single hand. Right? Great. Mistake number 2: buyers do the right things, but in the wrong order. I know we're living in an age of AI and information, but there's agents for a reason. There's agents and loans officers for reasons to counsel you to go through this process intelligently, right? So that you don't make a mistake. Have you ever made this mistake? So over a few years ago, I got hooked on a great British baking show. Smash the button if you heard this one. So I tried to make a cake from scratch. And instead of just using cake mix, I got all their things together and put them in a bowl and mix them together like you would any other cake mix. Totally ignoring the recipe's instructions for the cream and the butter, sugar first. So that just wasn't the great thing. So what came out was still technically a cake, but I didn't nail it. So I want you to stick the home buying process with tens, all tens across the board. I don't want you to not have this a successful transaction. So what does that look like to start off doing the right things in the wrong order? Tell me if you're guilty of these things. My personal observation is that 90+% of first-time home buyers end up buying the wrong house and the wrong deal. They got the house, they made the cake, but they did not nail it. Yes or no? Tell me in the chat. Tell me in the chat. Bottom line is you end up with the wrong house and the wrong deal. here on the screen, we got stuff about talk a recipe for buying the wrong house. You stalk Zillow for years. You disqualify yourself from homes and neighborhoods you're actually attainable. You get curious. You call a few for sale signs. You walk into a builder model if you're looking for a new build home. You go to a few open houses. You finally get tired. The wife is nagging you. The husband is saying, make a decision. And you just walk in and buy something, and most likely it's a bad deal because you were rushed. You had a timeline, and you didn't take the time. You didn't do the things in the right order. So now, mistake number 3: you choose the house over the neighborhood. Choose the house over the neighborhood. Let that sink in for a second. So, I'm going to be your best friend here and tell you some things you don't want to hear, but you need to hear. So if you go into a builder and you see a gorgeous granite countertops and those beautiful 48-inch shaker cabinets, um, they're outdated the day you buy them. Obviously, important to be in love with the place you buy. I believe the house speaks to you, but it can't be the only thing you focus on. Spoiler alert: one day those new countertops are going to look dated, right? So you have to, keep in mind where you buy the home. What's really going to make you happy here? How easy is it to live here? The neighbors, the location determines how much appreciation you get over the years. Most people in our market own their first home about 6 years. And when I come back to me and about thinking about selling, they literally never had someone say they loved the home because of the countertops after when it's time to sell. I think they say things like they love having the school around the corner for them. Our kids to walk to the school to elementary. Our neighbors watch our cat. We have great neighbors watch our cat. We have great neighbors, councilmen, policemen, all that type of stuff. It's real quiet here. We look out for each other. Those type of things. So the house is one thing. The neighborhood is another. So what do? Even if you don't want kids, we need to dig into the schools, the access, the appreciation potential, the scarcity of location. How many homes are for sale in this area? What is it like for the turnover? And for heaven's sake, talk to the neighbors, right? When you go over look and you see a neighbor watching you walk into the house, talk to them, wave them, ask them how's the neighborhood. You'll get some insight from neighbors who are around about the neighborhood, some things that you can't control. Excuse me. Mistake number 3, again, I have two number 3 mistakes, right? The third mistake, or the second number 3 mistake, is if you're going to buy a new build, in a new build community, you get stuck into the builder's marketing machine. So the problem with the builder is that no one is looking for you. If you show up at the builder unrepresented without a real estate broker like myself with you, then you're at the mercy of the salesperson or persons. No one is actually looking out for you, looking out for your well-being, and finding out what's good for you, right? So you have to deal with what they're talking about, and they try to a lot of tactics to get some property that's not moving off their books. So let's go on from there. So here are the two types of people that you get. And stop me if putting your questions in the chat, guys. Put some questions in the chat if you have any questions at all. You get these two types of people: a handsome sales dude and a friendly sales lady, right? They dress up nice. They talk to you. They have a scheduled. They have like a robotic talk, and they guide you towards the homes that they want you to buy because they're being pushed by the builder to get these homes off the market. Again, guys, I'm going to drop the link to the calendar. I'm going to drop the link to the calendar. Don't mean to keep breaking this up, but I understand if you need to jump off because you have family. So we're going to keep going. If you need to book a call, one-on-one call first. So mistake number 4, you get intimidated by the numbers. So average home buyers don't dig deep enough into the numbers, but it's my goal for you not to be the average home buyer. It's my goal for you to know the numbers, right? Know the numbers, and it's specific to each one of you, each one of you who are on the call, because each one of you are different, right? Someone could be an actor, someone could be a truck driver, someone could be, watching someone using HSS, right? So it is, specific to you, self-employed, hairstyles, all these things. You're unique in yourself. So no one's. I've learned this a long time ago. There's no in the box person. Everyone has unique features to them. So my goal to have no more confusion. What are the closing costs, from title fees to lender fees to buy downs, options, HOA fees, the one-time closing fee if you have VA, prepaid taxes, insurance, upfront mortgage insurance. What does that look like? What is that? What that looks like? Prepaid taxes, insurance, etc. We go over all this stuff, and we really have a conversation based on what your income is, what you qualify for, and then we maximize you qualify for, and then what you can afford, right? Because those two numbers can be very different. Qualification and what you can afford could be very different, because if you're like me, I sent 3 kids through private school. That didn't show up on my credit report. So what I qualified for was not what I could afford, because my credit report didn't show that of the tuitions I had to pay. So I had to settle for something. I don't want to use the word settle as though a bad word. I chose something less than I could qualify for, because I had a lifestyle that I wanted to maintain. And that lifestyle was having my kids in private school. And for you, it may be different. Maybe take care of grandma. Maybe you have a kid in college, or you got private school. Whatever it is, we have that conversation on what you can qualify for and what you want to be afford. Because sometimes you have some other income that's coming in that can't be that can't be counted because of some reason that we have to go in through individually. But you actually want to go for what you qualify for. So we have that conversation. The bad news about all the costs is they're expensive, right? It's they're expensive, but buying a home is expensive. You guys know that. I'm not telling you something you guys don't know these days. If you want to buy a home in Southern California, but if I were holding this webinar 2 years ago, when people were having their, well, not 2 years ago, that's probably a little bit more than now, about 4 years ago, when people were having their parents give them hundreds of $1,000s from their equity and climbing on top of each other to buy a house, I would have told you you're going to need some serious cash to make this work. But boy, oh boy, have things changed right now in this current market. The tables have turned, and you may be glad that you didn't buy a house when people were climbing over each other to get it done, because we can do some things now. So let me pull back the curtain and tell you how our brains work for a second. Um, I don't know how it works in your household, but we budget our money based on what comes in the span of the month and what we're comfortable with spending. So I'm sure that's you guys. Sometimes our folks find out with their home, find out that their home they really want is just barely out of their price range. So we can figure out what we can do to make that work. What does it look like to maybe buy down the rate or make it more affordable, right? So because of the cost of taxes, homeowners insurance, HOA, all those things, we can really massage the numbers and figure out what it is going to take to get you into the home that you desire. So we're pretty much nerds about this stuff. I have a team behind me that we take you as a client and go deep. We go deep into the process. Let me admit someone else here. Excuse me. We go deep into the we go deep into the process of you. Find out what you can afford. What are your goals? Like I said before, I'm a real estate and mortgage broker, and I pride myself on being that because I can see around the corners. I know both sides of the actual transaction, and I know what it takes and what the costs are going to be. So you don't have to talk to 2 different people or 3 different people. Everything is in house. But that's knowing that we're going to figure out what works best for you. So credit reporting. Credit can be a sensitive issue, so it's my expectation is that we kind of talk on this one on one. I don't want to talk about your credit and ask you a question, any question related to your credit in front of everyone. So by all means, please do not feel pressured to ask any credit questions here. There will be plenty of time for that later in a one on one if you choose to have a one on one with the team and I. So after we've had that income talk that we talked about, the income talk, it's time to pull the credit report, right? We figure out what your income is. We look at then we have time to pull the credit report. And this could be a little scary, but it's time to put our big pants on and make this reality. Make this home purchase process a reality that we're going to go through. And this pretty much separates the people from who are serious and who are just quite not ready. If they aren't ready to have their credit pulled and really dive into the numbers, what you bring in, and what your debts are, and where we are as far as your debt to income ratio. This is where we start really getting into the numbers and figuring out what needs to be done. Second takeaway is don't be a hero. Mm. I can say a lot on this issue. If you have some kind of collection that's set on your credit report, do not pay it off before talking to us first. This is often backfires on you. Do not spend one dime because you think, oh, let me clear this up, let me pay down on some debt. Do not do that. As much as you think you know about credit, you need to take the advice of your loan officer. If it's me, if I have the pleasure of being your loan officer, you need to run everything by our team first, bottom line, because you can hurt yourself by doing things that you don't know are harmful to you. So do not do that. Run everything by us. Don't do anything. Don't. I even have a form that I'll have you sign if you choose to work on our team that says once we take your credit report, don't do anything. Don't give anybody a social security number. Don't have your credit report ran for any reason at all. We're taking a snapshot of your credit profile, and we are, excuse me, let me let someone else. And we are going through this process. We're taking a snapshot of your credit profile, and and that should remain the same unless we have to do some changes. So don't go out and put some furniture on lease or rent to own or anything like that. Don't let anyone run your credit. Don't say that they tell you they're going to do a soft pull and they're not going to run your credit. It's not going to affect everything. Do not do that. I have a person in escrow right now, and I'm just the loan officer in the situation. I'm working with a realtor who brought this client to me, and they are so antsy. They want to do this, they want to do that, they want to get ADT in, and ADT wants to run a soft pull, and I had to tell the client respectfully, be still. You're trying to do too much, and it's going to ruin everything. We told you in the beginning, had you sign this form, do not do anything. So again, don't be the hero. Don't do anything that could ruin your deal. Run everything by your trusted advisor. That's what they're there for, to trust and advise you. If you're working with my team and I, it's me. All right. There are 5 steps in buying a home and getting it in 30 days. So let's tell this story with the cost in mind. When we're done, we have a list of the costs, so you have a plan. Sound fair? So we're going to give you a good estimate of how much you'll need, how much cash you need to put up or save to make this work. How we can always even put a sharper point on this, right? So let's go through the steps. Let's talk about who's going to be asking you for what and how much and when. How much money do you really need? First things first, how much does it cost to have our team help you as a buyer? Anyone knows how much it costs to have me represent you as a buyer, as a loan officer? How much money are you going to have to pay me? Anyone have a guess in the chat? Anybody have a guess in the chat of how much it's going to cost for me to represent you? Absolutely zero. Zero, 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 guys. Even if it takes us a year or longer, we will, hope God willing, we'll still be in business. We'll still be in business. The fact is regardless of what the lawsuits have happened, nothing really has changed as far as how we get compensated for our services. The seller pays commission in our markets, and that's good news from you, right? So we don't get paid unless and until we put the keys in your hand. So this setup is ideal for you because it makes all of us extra motivated to nail it for you. All right, if you got any questions in the chat, feel free to put it in the chat. So when we find the home, after we have the conversation about what you'd afford and what you qualify for, like I talked about previously, when we find the home and execute a purchase offer, you'll be asked to pay a deposit. It's called an earnest money deposit. Commonly, it's about 1% of the sales price. And it's a point of negotiation. I actually don't have to put 1%, but it shows you have skin in the game, and it makes a realtor understand and a seller understand that you're serious. Now, previous example of buying a home earlier of 650,000 at 1%, that down payment or earnest money deposit is $6,500. So that $6,500 is a deposit. So when you have to pay the rest of your down payment, you're going to minus that $6,500 that you already put. So we know that we have to save at least, we have to have that $6,500 to put that earnest money deposit or 1% of your actual purchase price. So now there can be a lot of activity from this stage. A lender is going to be asking you for some updated documents. Title company, which is a third party, they're going to be asking you to for some information. Title company is going to be that's escrow. Title company, who is their job to clear the property of title and keep the process moving. They have some information for you to provide, and then of course on a case by case about scheduling inspections. Right, so home and pest inspection. Generally, inspection costs about $400 to $600, and it's always a buyer's expense. The buyer always, you have to pay this for this inspection fee out of your pocket to the inspector himself, right? So based on the inspection, he or she may recommend a secondary inspection like pool, septic tank, roof, HVAC, plumbing, things they are not actually specialized in. They may say, go ahead and get a secondary inspection. And before we move to the next slide, guys, again, I do recognize that some of you just don't need this. You don't need this whole entire presentation, or you are, again, coming home right now. It's 7:35. You have kids running around, the dog, the cat, the husband, the wife is around. If you need to jump off, I'm dropping the link to book a time with us in the chat. So the link again is in the chat. If you need to book time with us, a one-on-one session to go over all this for you individually, we will. So the link is in the chat. So again, back to presentation. The secondary inspections may be needed, right? That's up to you to decide whether you want to take the recommendation of the general home inspector to do those secondary inspections. And I'm here to help you along the way. Negotiating deal. Based on these inspection results, we're going to either terminate the contract. I don't like this house. I don't like the way the plumbing, two-story. I had a house I was representing a buyer on in Inglewood, California, and when the inspection came back, the plumbing was held up by a shoestring. Under the house, they had a shoestring. It was a raised foundation, and they had a shoestring from one of the beams under the house to the plumbing, which we all know that shouldn't be the case. It should be some other copper pipe bracing up the plumbing. And although the home was beautiful, the buyer said no. If they were that irresponsible in that repair, I don't know what else could go wrong, right? That we can't see in the inspection. So we moved on. So terminate the contract is always one. We pick some items 2, 3, 4, or 5 for the seller to repair, right? After we look at the inspection, we ask them to repair these items. we get receipts and we get warranties, or we negotiate some additional credits in lieu of repairs. If we just no time, or we want just some additional money to get our own people. Maybe you have a cousin who's an electrician that needs to do some electrical, can do electrical repair for you, and you feel more comfortable having your cousin do it than the seller. Then we can say, you know what, just give us a credit, and that's a negotiation. That's not a given. That's a negotiation, but that can happen. So those are one of the three things that can happen after when we're negotiating after the inspection report comes in. So after that, after we come to an agreement, then it all goes quiet, right? After the inspection report, all go quiet. The lender, your request from the appraisal, from the lender to pay their appraisal, and that average cost of between $600 and maybe $700, maybe even more, $750 I've seen recently. So let's call it 700. And although depending on what you decide tonight, it may be able to get some of that back, right? So that is another cost of that comes out of your pocket. You pay for the appraiser, but the bank pays picks the appraiser. You pay. I say it again because I might have messed it up. You pay for the appraisal, but the bank picks the appraiser by law. If you want this house and you want this loan, the bank is going to pick their appraiser company, but you have to pay them. It's not like it was years and years ago. And then it's yours, but that's not it, right? So there's some other things that we have that happens in between there on the loan side. After the appraisal happens, we review the appraisal, and we make sure that the numbers match, right? The price of the home matches that we negotiated, matches the appraisal, or less than, or greater than. And we submit all the other closing documentations, right, in the loan process. This is the back end. Submit all the closing documentations, and we get clear to close, and then we close the deal. There's a lot of moving parts that you as a buyer don't see, from title, escrow, loan, myself. We go through a lot of things, and there are a lot of people involved. But for you, we at our team, we try to keep it quiet for you and do all the dirty work for you, right? We talk to the seller, we talk to the listing agent. You pay your down payment and your closing costs, and we get you the keys. There will be there'll be some time, some hairy times in there, but we're gonna work for you. Mistake number five. And mistakes I see people make. What's the one thing that people fail to do that is really important? They don't hire a gladiator. They don't hire someone that's going to fight for them. That's someone that's competent, that's been doing this for a while, that's going to fight for them and help them through this process. And it is a doozy, right? What does the gladiator do? Any dummy, listen, any dummy can open up a lockbox. My job is not just to show you houses. My job is to pick up the sword and fight for you. It really is to pick up the sword and fight for on your behalf and protect you from things that you don't see. Pick up a shield, protect you from things you don't see. The things me seeing around the corner, the pitfalls of buying this house, buying this neighborhood, negotiations. Contrary to how it looks on HGTV, my job is, again, not just to show you houses. That's just 2% of what I do. I really fight for you. I fight for you and make sure that you get the best deal and that you get what you want. So I can be a little I can be a little bold right now, put my cards on the table and tell you what I really want. What I really want is I want your kids to go into a better school. I want the goals you want. I want you to put equity in your pocket faster and retire easier because we squeezed every dime into this deal, right? Selfishly, I want to create a raving fan in you. When I see you at the grocery store, because I live and work in the community, and I see you at the grocery store or at Target, or no, I don't I'm shopping Target right now, but I see you wherever I see you. Big five. I want nothing but pounds, hugs, high fives, and smiles, and how's the kids, how's the family, all that type of stuff. I want to create a raving fan, and how I do that is I make sure I serve you. So, what do gladiators like myself do differently? We don't believe that the impossible is impossible. Um, we look more if the inventory in the area that you want. We look deeper into the inventory. We just the things that are on sale aren't the only things that are for sale, and we recognize that, and we'll go more than that in our one-on-one. If you're looking for the MLS marketing, we go find the property that you're looking for. I call in favors from realtors I know, right? I belong to a community of realtors, and I call in favors. If I see something that's on the market, I'll call in a favor from a realtor. Hey, I gave you the last one. What do I need to do to get this one done? We'll go to the builders. We'll work on your behalf. We'll fight for everything you're going. We're going to consume a conspicuous amount of data to make sure everything you get, everything you need, is what you get. And so, is every tactic we're going to use going to work? No, but we'll put all the stops out until the problem submits. And we do a lot for you. We really get beat up, and here's what I'm going to look like when it's over. You're right. You see that black eye? I'm going to look a little battered and bruised because I'm going to go to battle for you guys. Right? This is what me and my team do. We go to battle for you, make sure you understand what you're getting into, and we go to battle for you to make sure that you're protected. So this is what I'm going to look like emotionally, not physically, really. But so let me ask you, so far, since we started this meeting about 45 minutes ago, are you less concerned now that you know a little bit more about the process? Are you less stressed out, less intimidated, less anxious, less uncertain on what's the next steps? Put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. And again, if you gotta leave, I'm going to put because it's been 45 minutes, and I really appreciate you guys hanging in there with me, learning and leaning in to this presentation, of learning what it takes to buy a home. If you need to go and I put the booking link right here in the chat. But let's move on. I really want, my goal is to make sure you guys are really well informed, and I can't go over everything in this presentation, but again, your situation is unique. So your job is to tell me what you really want and let us worry about it and how to make it happen. Tell me what you want. Let me make it happen. Let me figure out the way to make it happen for you, or tell you what you need to do to make it happen. Maybe it can't. I'll be realistic with you. If you're unrealistic on what your payment objectives are based on prices today and interest rates today, I'm going to tell you. However, you're going to know. I'm a straight shooter. So I'm going to tell you right up front, like, look, that's not, we can't buy a house for $300,000 anymore. That's not what we can do in Southern California. Maybe in some other areas, but not in Southern California. So I'm going to tell you what you want, what you need to hear. But again, tell me what you want and let me make it happen for you. So here's the right order. Choose the gladiator, or the person representing you. Hopefully it's me and my team. Explore the creative financing options that's right for you. Run down payment estimates. If in the homes your area, what are the down payments? Visit builders if you want to buy a new home anyway. We negotiate seller credits hard. In this market, when property are sitting less or more on market, we negotiate seller credits. What does that mean? The house is listed for $650. We agree on the price. Let's say that we give them $650. We put an offer together for $650, but we want a credit of $20,000 to go towards your closing costs. We negotiate that hard. We negotiate that real hard. I just recently negotiated $18,000 in credits for a buyer. 18,000. And then we focus on your neighborhood because remember, like I said earlier in the presentation, you can't change the neighborhood, but you can change the house. Right? You can't change the neighborhood, you can't change the house. So we focus on the neighborhood you want to live in, or what your dream neighborhood is, or what you can afford. Right? So we all sometimes have to make concessions. So again, guys, if you can't stay, I want to invite you at this time to book on the calendar. If you've heard enough and you need to get started or you want to get started, go ahead and book some time on my calendar. I'll leave that up to you to book some time on the calendar. Search real estate sites for first-time home buyer mistakes, and here's what comes up. They don't get pre-qualified, they don't do a pre-inspection, they don't work with a realtor, and they apply for credit before closing. Yeah, they really do that. I had one person do that before, one in my lifetime, which led me to create the forum I told you about earlier, what not to do, right? All of these articles were written by robust and desperate realtors. All have clicked info. You guys are smart. You really need to get pre-qualified. It is important for us to have that financial conversation early. Not go walk into an open house and say, "This is the house for me, Larry. Please get this house for me." And we didn't do that. So I'm going to recommend, if you work with me, I'm going to recommend you don't walk into an open house. You don't look on Zillow anymore. You don't do any of that. You don't walk into an open house until we figure out to have that conversation on what you can qualify for and then what you can afford. Where we're gonna end up at, right? Where we're gonna decide on how much monthly payment it is. Because that monthly payment matches up to a price point based on today's interest rates and how much down payments you're gonna put or what programs you're going to use, right? All these things are dynamic that we need to talk about that are very unique to you because you're unique to anyone else who's on a call. You may again be self-employed. You may be working on a set of your next Hollywood blockbuster movie. All these things happen. All these things make you unique. So we need to talk about your individual situation and get solid in your finances, solid on where we want to end up or arrange, because sometimes you'll say I want to stick here, but then you walk into a place in your ideal neighborhood with the ideal setup, location, feel, and it'll start talking to you, and you say, you know what, Larry, I'm ready to spend. I know I qualified for here, but I said I want to be here, but I'm ready to spend a little bit more for this house. So we make adjustments, right? But we do that up front, not during the process. We do that up front, figure out where you are. So if you're working with my team and I, we're going to do that up front, get you properly approved so that when you make an offer, it's very strong. So again, if you're ready to start this process with my team and I, we guide you along the way. Raise your hand, raise your hand, raise your hand, or better yet, just book. Just book some time. Book some time book some time on our calendar. We're ready to help you. We're ready to help you in this process of buying a home here in Southern California. It can be a daunting task, right? It can be a daunting task, but we're here to help you. Go ahead in the booking link. Book your time. It's a good time for us to talk, right? Figure out what your situation is, how you want to go forward, what you want to talk about, and we'll go through that. And I think I did have a question in there. Somebody want to know. So it's Q&A time, guys. It's Q&A. And I really appreciate you guys leaning into learning more about buying a home in Southern California. If you have any questions, I think I saw somebody that said they want to buy USDA loans. They want to talk about USDA loans. USDA loans are great loans. They're for rural areas. I have a map on my computer that outlines what qualifies for USDA and what does not. So in your situation, when we talk about USDA loans, again, it's for rural areas. I believe it's for, off the top of my head, for a population of less than 100,000. I'm not sure of the number, but it doesn't matter. HUD has a map that overlays over all of California, all over the country actually, that of places and counties, cities, areas that qualify for USDA loans. And what's the benefit of the USDA loan, you may ask? It's like a VA loan in some respects, and because you can get a USDA loan with 0% down. Now, you still have to qualify for the monthly payments, but it's 0% down because the government wants to what I want to say. They want to incentivize buying in those rural areas, right? They want to incentivize. Yes, yes, yes. You can book. Yes, you answer your question. Yes, you can book on the calendar to see what you qualify for. I'm going to drop the link one more time, or another time because I'm not finished. Go ahead and book a time on your calendar. You may, like you said, you may not be ready right now. You may not be ready, but what you're going to leave from that meeting with us is you're going to leave knowing what you need to do to what you need to do to get qualified. We're going to, go over everything we can verbally before we actually start looking at, income and credit. We're going to go over that verbally, and then we're going to get to providing those documents and see exactly what you qualify for, and then talk again about that affordability, what you want to afford. So go ahead and book on our calendar. Book on the calendar, guys. I really appreciate you guys for hanging out here. If you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. It has been my pleasure to help you and give you clarity on what the home buying process is, and so that you are more informed going forward. If you need anything, I'm going to give you my personal cell number, right? I'm not going to put this in the chat, but I'm going to give you my personal cell number, which is all over social media. Go to my social media. It's 323 228 2736. My personal cell number is 323 228. Matter of fact, let me put it in the chat anyway. 323 228 2736. That's my personal cell number. Book time with me, however. Book time with me in my booking link so that we can go over your situation. And so here's the thing, guys. Here's the thing I want to tell you guys. We're coming to the end, so I want to give you some bonuses. A couple of things that you notice, some fees that cost you, was your appraisal and inspection fee, right? So your general inspection fee of $400 to $600 and your appraisal fee. If you use my team and I for your real estate and your mortgage loan, we will reimburse you for those fees. So those fees could be well over $1,000. If you use my team and I for both your real estate and the mortgage, my team and I will reimburse you for those fees at the closing. You're going to pay for them up front, but we're going to reimburse you for those fees for the appraisal and the inspection. Again, I'll repeat it. If you use us for that, we'll reimburse you for that. That's more than $1,000. And Veronica says you want more information on USDA loans. Veronica, reach out to me. I'll put my number again in the chat. 323-228-2736. That's my number to chat, and book some time with me, Veronica. Book some time with me. Let's go over it. Let's look at your individual situation. Where do you want to buy at? Make sure that in that area it qualifies for a U.S. Good, Veronica. Good. You already booked. Good. Thank you for booking some time with us so that we can qualify that area, and then see what you need. Great. So again, guys, that's my goodies today. We're going to pay for. You come from this online Zoom webinar. We're going to reimburse you for your general inspection fee and your appraisal fee at the end of the transaction. This will be my gift to you. Probably more gifts to come, but my gift to you for showing up and leaning in to learning more about the process of buying a home here in Southern California. If you guys have any questions at all, I'll give you one more minute to drop it in the chat. I know you spend time with, I appreciate you spending time with me here. And I know you have plenty of other things to do. Your wife is around, your husband is around, kids running around, dog, all that type of stuff. It's almost 8 o'clock. I don't want to take any more of your time because I really appreciate it. Feel free, again, to book some time or call me, text me. I do communicate via text. Let me know you were on the October 2nd home buying Zoom webinar. I'd be more than happy to talk with you. It's been my pleasure having you here. Reach out to me if you have any questions. With that, guys, it's almost 8 o'clock. If I don't see any more questions, we're going to wrap this up. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's been my pleasure. This is my second Zoom webinar. I had a little technical challenges, but we're getting better, better, and better. And I'm going to be able to share more and more with you guys. But again, your situation is different. I'll share with you individually. And I really want to thank you guys for sticking in with me. All right. So I release you guys. Go ahead. We're going to end this meeting here. Stop this share. And if you guys reach out to me, go ahead, book some time with me. Love you guys. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being here for yourselves.